Well, happy Wednesday, everybody. Yes, Wednesday. I'm a day late. It's time for this week's video. Get ready. Okay, folks, yes, it is Wednesday. I apologize. Yesterday was a kind of a busy day, and not only that, I was struggling to come up with a topic for a video, and then my schedule got real tight, and I couldn't do it anyway. So, I'm going to take something from a post in the Friends of Mike Williams in the Gospel Revolution private group, and a lady asked, what is sin to God? She's questioning the whole concept of sin and what sin is. And I'm going to talk about sin and what sin was, because sin really is a past tense issue. There is no is in sin anymore. It is a was. Sin was destroyed and defeated. Mistreated. New word there. Sin was destroyed and defeated at the cross. But what was sin? I could go to a lot of things that Paul said in Corinthians and Romans and a few other places, because Paul pretty much explained the whole sin versus transgressions, actions, and deeds, that kind of thing. He talked about sin in Romans chapter 5. Now, Romans chapter 5 is probably the most concise picture of the gospel. He pretty much lays it out and gets really specific, verses 12 through 18, about what the whole situation was, what the whole problem was, and what the whole solution also was. Talks about how Adam in the garden, he sinned. And God said in the day he would die. Now, he didn't die physically. We know he lived a long, long time after that. But in the day he ate it thereof, he died. What is sin? Sin is a spiritual condition, a spiritual state of being, and it is a state of being of death in a spiritual way. Physically, in your human body, you're still going on, but in terms of spiritual everlastingness or whatever, or righteousness and justification and right standing before God, because of your condition alone, your state of being alone in itself condemns you before God. And it's because of the sin of Adam. It also says in chapter 5 that because of his sin, all of humanity was in that same condition of sin. And all of humanity was dead in that condition of sin. Because of that one man, everybody was in this condition. Now, sins came along afterwards, especially when you could really just charge somebody with and convict somebody of sins. It was because there was a rule book, and it was called the law, which came along with Moses. Moses wrote the law. Everybody knows the 10 Commandments. Well, he wrote a lot more commandments after that, but that was the first 10. And so anytime you transgressed against those commandments, those were called sins. So what did Jesus do? Jesus not only died and took away the law and covered all those transgressions that were in the law, he did something even better. He did something like what Adam did, only much greater. Greater than that. Paul said greater too. See, what happened in Adam is, through Adam, all were in a condition of sin and death. It was just a condition. We're not talking about actions and deeds and transgressions against the rule book or anything like that. We're just talking about the condition of sin, and all of humanity, which came from Adam, was in a condition of sin, a condition of death. But through Jesus Christ and his resurrection and his work, all were raised to justification of life in him. No longer in sin, no longer in a condition of spiritual death. actions and deeds, they're a matter of your own personal heart and ethics and um, uh, morality as you rule, as you guide yourself in your own life, hopefully with your priority being love. A loving person, of course, is going to try to treat themselves and their fellow man as best as possible whenever they can, and nobody's perfect. So, but yeah, what is sin to God? First of all, it's a historic issue. It's past tense. It's destroyed. But what it was to God at one time was an unacceptable condition whereby we were all condemned in His sight because of what the first man did. It's revolutionary, I know, and I hope I simplified that for you. And have a revolutionary week.